next 2 hours, let's take a look at the easiest schedules in the league this upcoming season. The Falcons and Saints are at the very top because their opponents had the worst win percentage last season. There is a new quarterback, by the way, if you haven't heard, in Atlanta as well, as Kirk Cousins joins us now on the program. Kirk, what's the first thing you do when you see the schedule come out?
That's a good question. I always look at week one first. We got Pittsburgh at home, 1 p.m. So that's really where your mind really starts and ends. But then you probably look at the times of the games, specifically the night games. You know, when are we playing at night, and are we away? And so we've got 2 Monday night games away. So you always think about those flights home that, you know, you end up getting back at 4 a.m. and get a late start to your next week of prep. But for the most part, you know, just try to focus on usually the unique games like the Monday nights, the Thursday nights, the Sunday nights, because you know that there'll be a fair amount of those Sunday 1 o'clocks as well. But once you see you're starting with Pittsburgh, that's really where the focus goes. And
out the gate, you saw that you had 3 night games in the first 5 weeks. After that Monday night football game in week 2 against the Eagles, where you're on the road, you've got the Super Bowl champs coming to Atlanta against, you know, as you face the Chiefs here. Do you circle that specifically in your mind? Is that one of those like, yeah, I can't wait to face this team?
Yeah, I think you always want to measure yourself against the best, right? So, you know, great offenses, championship offenses have great games against elite defenses. And so I always kind of look at who are the top defenses in the league, and I kind of circle those games to say those are the teams that I want to have my best games, because the best quarterbacks, the best offenses show up against the best defenses. And I think Kansas City's defense was a great test last year and will be again. Certainly the team they are as a whole is a great test, and we're excited to have them in Atlanta in a primetime game.
All right, we're excited to see what happens in Week 14. You return, and you go back to Minnesota to face your former team. When you hear about that, you knew it was coming. It's just a matter of when it was coming. When you hear that and you know the date, you know what you're doing in Week 14 now, what are your first thoughts?
Yeah, it'll be a unique experience. You know, going back to Washington a couple years ago will probably have been similar. Just so many familiar faces, so many people that mean so much to me and to my family, so many great memories in that stadium, in that city. It'll be a mix of emotions, and there will be a lot of football played between now and then. So it'll be interesting to see when we get to December sort of where everybody stands, and we'll see once we get there. But you know, that's certainly a game that you're aware of when the schedule comes out.
Kirk, you mentioned going back to Washington when you were the Vikings quarterback. What do you take from that experience that you think you'll be able to apply here in Week 14 when you travel back to Minnesota?
Well, I think a lot of emotions do hit you as you touch down, as you land in the plane, as you bus to the hotel, and you realize you're going to the away hotel, not the home team hotel. As you head to the stadium, as you see, you know, different security guards around the tunnel and the entrance that used to be, you know, for you, and now they're going to be against you. And obviously during warm-ups, you see so many people, support staff, teammates, coaches that meant so much to you, mean so much to you now on the opposing team. So really the prep leading up to the game is what is different. And then once the ball's kicked off, you really feel like I did in Washington. You feel like it's any other game, and we got to get a win. And if you do win, it's a great feeling walking off.
I want to get into football here. Okay, number one, what's it been like with Zach Robinson, the new offensive coordinator? And then how good can Drake London be?
Yeah, I'll answer your second question first. I'm really excited about Drake. We've had about 4 OTA practices now. He's been outstanding. I love his talent. I'm just excited to play a role in helping him get to where he wants to go. That's really the role that I see, as I'm a point guard, just trying to distribute to him as a great shooting guard, small forward that I can get the ball to. And then Zach's been awesome. He's got a great way about him. I think the players are really responding to his leadership. I'm fortunate to have played in a similar system with Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota. So that's helped me pick up the system maybe a little more quickly than I otherwise would have. And we just got to close that gap because we don't have as much shared history as I'd like to have. So that's really what the work is between now and that first game against Pittsburgh.
Kirk, it's been all nice and pretty, and I love these questions. Your team took a quarterback 8th overall in the draft. How are you going to facilitate not only this relationship? We all know you to be a real good vet in this league. We know how much team matters to you, but we know how outside voices and noise gets during a football season. How will you manage going through this season playing at a high level, but also knowing that you got this kid coming in from college that can play at a high level as well? Are you going to help facilitate him and get him acclimated, or is it more about him watching you through your journey and hopefully he learns from that?
You know, I've always found that the quarterback room needs to be a working force where everybody is pulling together, trying to help one another succeed. And it's really always been that way. I expect it to continue to be that way. And I think that, you know, we are all working together to help our team win football games. So that's been the focus since the draft. It will be the focus moving forward. And I do like our group.
Yes, sir.
Another focus is you're coming off a torn Achilles in week 8. Where's the progress? Are you 100% right now heading into these camps?
440.
I wish. I'm close. I'm practicing. That was my concern was, you know, will I be able to practice during OTAs? And I am. I'm out there taking drops, making throws, making reads, 11 on 11. Yeah. And that's really what I wanted to be able to do. So am I 100%? I'm not there yet, but I wasn't expecting to be there yet. They told me when I did it'd be 9 months. That would take me to August 1st. As a competitor, I immediately said to myself, all right, June 1st is my goal. Yeah. So we're going to be somewhere between probably June 1st and August 1st. Not sure exactly where, but the fact that I can get on the practice field right now and get reps is really what mattered to me. So that was a big accomplishment right there.
But, Kirk, it's mid-May. We missed these injury reports. So are we okay to report that you are good to go for opening week 1?
Unless something happens between now and week 1. I mean, there's a lot of time. But, yeah, the trajectory I'm on, I think it's a bull market, and you should be buying, and I expect to be playing week 1 against Pittsburgh.
Kirk, real quick, it's a little bit abnormal, your journey, right? As a quarterback, the relationship element in the locker room is such a big deal. Like, what's the number one thing that you've learned going from Washington to Minnesota that you've tried to implement now to kind of take control of that organization?
Yeah, it's not easy to switch teams. I've done it once. I have had to do it again now. And I'm reminded just how difficult it is to move all your stuff, to live out of a suitcase as you're still trying to figure out so much that's going on. You know, I reached out to a couple of veteran quarterbacks who are now retired, who had to switch teams late in their career and had a lot of success with it. And one of their points they made was, you know, it's this balance you have to find between stepping in, leading, and asserting yourself and what you're there to do, while also like being quiet and asking questions and understanding you haven't been there and take a back seat for a minute and learn how things operate. And so I'm trying to find that middle ground right now. Certainly as you get closer to week 1, I think that just ratchets up every week how you lead. But I do want to assert myself in meetings and on the practice field so that these young players around me really hear what I expect things to look like, the standard we need to practice at. And at this point, I've been thrilled with the response from my teammates and the way that they're so eager to do what needs to be done to win football games.
Dan understands that he had to change teams a lot of times.
He can give you some advice.
You should have called him.
Hey, by the way,
I don't envy you. I don't envy you.
A lot of
I do envy you.
Yeah, all of us do. As you get ready for the Steelers, we do appreciate it, Kirk. Thank you so much. You got the Eagles on Monday Night Football in week 2, and then the Chiefs at home on Sunday night in week 3. Stay healthy, Kirk. Thank you so much.